Hi guys, hope you're doing well out there today. My name is Dan and this little green meanie is the Digitech bass synth wah. It's a really fully featured little pedal with envelope filter sounds, octave sounds and synth simulation sounds. All in one small box and for not much money, although it is climbing a little bit on the used market. I've got to be honest, this is one of my most used bass pedals. I don't use very many effects with bass, but this one is just a great little utility pedal. And I actually use it most for a standard octave down sound. It's one of the cleanest I've found and one of the best tracking for bass. So we'll get into that a bit later. It's got 7 different effect engines inside. You've got an envelope filter, so it's all selectable from this mode knob here. So number 1 is an envelope filter, which is your standard quacky filter. Number 2 is a sub-envelope filter, so it's your standard quacky filter again, but it's got a lower octave on it as well. Then you've got 2 synth engines, 2 filter engines, and the synth and the filter engines are pretty similar. They're both pretty outrageous sounding patches. And then at the very end, you've got the octave sub patch, which is my personal favorite and most used. So for a pedal that's got a lot of sounds in it, it's got a very simple control layout. The first knob here is sensitivity. That is the same for every engine, and it just controls the what input signal sets off the filter or the synth sound. So that's tailored to whatever bass you're playing or how much you want it to react. Control changes for each engine, so I'll say it as I go through, but for the envelope filter sounds, it's a wet-dry blend. For the synth and filters, it's an attack control. And then for the octave sub, it's a level control for the sub. And then the range knob here, again, changes depending on the engine. But it's for the filters, it's the range of the filter, so how wide the sweep is and at what point in the frequency spectrum it sweeps. And then for the synth and the filter modules, it's a cutoff control. And then for the octave sub patch number 7, it's a synth level. So in case you're curious, the sound I was using for the intro clip there was engine number 6, which is filter 2. But to start going through the sounds, if we start right at the bottom, so this is a standard envelope filter sound. And as I said, the sensitivity is just to dial it into your bass. So if I bring it all the way down, you won't get much of the filter happening at all. Unless you dig right in and then right up. It's so sensitive that it's keeping the filter open all the time. So I'll set it to about where it works well on my bass. The control is a wet-dry blend in this mode. So this is totally dry. And totally wet. And just so you've heard it, this is the bass sound without any pedal. And then this controls the range of the filter sweep. So you can hear at the top end of the range very quacky, at the bottom end of the range not so much. And then you can use between the range and the sensitivity, you can get a much lower frequency sweep. So that's a cool engine, very straightforward envelope filter sound. If we now go to the next one, it adds an octave down into it. And that will be more prominent if we take up the sensitivity and the range. So that again works very much the same as the first engine. You can get it even more quacky. And then that is the blend still. Cool, so now moving up to synth number 1. So what the controls do in this is the sensitivity again to the opening and closing of the synth sound. So you can hear at the top end of the sensitivity, it's multiply triggering because there's so much input signal. So I'll leave it again where it works well with my bass. The control for this is the attack. So right down low, it will be a very quick attack. Really slow attack. And then this is controlling the cutoff frequency in this mode. So if we go up to synth number 2 now, set the controls in the middle, sounds like this. And then these are the same as the last engine. So we've got attack and cutoff. So if I raise the cutoff and lower the attack, I get more of a quacky kind of synth sound. So with a sound like that, I'd increase the sensitivity for triggering. See if we can get it to trigger on every note. For a bit of laser gun action. So it tracks pretty well. You got to adjust your style a little bit, but I mean, you can get some great sounds out of it if you do. So let's move up and check out the 2 filter models now. This is filter number 1 with the control set roughly at midday, which sounds very much like a dog barking into a synthesizer. But it sounds very cool. So in these 2 models, you've got a filter attack on the control knob, and the range is the frequency of which the synth, the sort of filtery synth sound is centered. So if I now show you what the range does. And then this is the attack will just be how long it takes for that filter to open. So down it's fairly static, and up it's got more movement. Filter number 2 now with all the controls set roughly at noon sounds like. So a much more growly kind of synth. The controls are the same with the frequency again. And then that'll be the attack again. As you can hear, this pedal's just got such a great range of sounds in it. So this is the last engine now. This is the octave sub engine, and it's a mixture of an octave down and a synth kind of sound. So with all the controls set at noon, it sounds a bit like this. And so these controls have changed now in this engine. So this is the synth level, the range, and this is the sensitivity of the synthesizer. And then the control is the level for the octave down. So I tend to use it as a standard octave, a bit of a waste of firepower, like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, but it really does sound great. So this is roughly how I set it. As you can hear, it just tracks lightning fast and tracks pretty low as well. So this is a D. That's right down to a low B, B flat. Having a bit of a wobble, but still good. A. And it only kind of wobbles on static notes as well. I can play a line right with a low G, and as long as I'm not holding it, it doesn't fart too much. So that even went down to a low F there, and it's not too bad. So listening to a bit more to the synth now, bringing up the synth level and the sensitivity. You can even take the octave down completely out if you just want the synth. So there you have it. That was the Digitech bass synth wah. A great fully featured, almost little bass player's toolkit there with some essential sounds and some pretty wacky ones as well to keep you occupied. If you can pick this up for a decent price, I highly recommend it. My only negative points with this pedal is that it kind of lacks a little bit of control in certain effects models, and also it could do with a wet-dry blend in every single model, but then you can't have everything, and like I said, for the money it's fantastic. So thanks very much for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out with future content, and I hope to see you in another video soon. All the best, guys. Cheers.